Close your eyes and picture it. You've got new cleats on your feet, and they're still stiff from the box. You're walking out onto the field with your team's gear in hand. You're ready to play. It's a great memory, right? But for millions of kids, that memory never arrives. Not because they don't want to play the game, but because they can't afford to. When a kid is sidelined, they're missing out on much more than just a game. They're missing out on building confidence, learning teamwork, the importance of resilience, and so much more. That's where Good Sports comes in. Good Sports partners with companies, foundations, and individuals to deliver brand new gear to youth sports organizations across the country. Over 11 million kids have benefited from their work, and you can help make it even more. To learn how you can be part of it, visit goodsports.org. That's goodsports.org.
Hey, this is Mike Kohler, Chief Commercial Officer of HomeTeam Network, and this is a Sports Business Conversations podcast from ADC Partners.
Hey, this is Dave Almy of ADC Partners, and you can broadcast your kid's baseball game globally. Yeah, that's right. Your kid's team can go from selling candy bars to raise money to creating a global media empire with all the trimmings. I'm talking high broadcast quality, multiple camera angles, live graphics, AI highlights, and more. The whole deal. Better yet, here's what you don't need. A production truck, a crew, or a six-figure cost. That's exactly what's available to you right now. And Mike Kohler, Chief Commercial Officer of HomeTeam Network, is helping make it happen. HomeTeam Network is developing a single platform for live sports that's built around one core idea, making that broadcast quality production accessible to everyone from minor league baseball teams to high school flag football to college Olympic sports. Mike spent 27 years on the multimedia rights side, so he knows exactly what live sports production used to cost and what it used to take. Now he's on the other side, disrupting a model he used to be part of. In our conversation, we get into how HomeTeam Network is democratizing high-quality streaming. We talk about their broadcast-in-a-box model, remote production, AI camera switching, live stats, automated highlights, and how it's scaling from 1,300 minor league baseball teams last year to somewhere north of 4,000 this summer. We discuss how HomeTeam is threading the needle between startup nimbleness and serious commercial ambition, and why Mike's advice to his own board was, don't overpay for rights, and out-tech the competition instead. So thanks for checking out my conversation with Mike Kohler, Chief Commercial Officer at HomeTeam Network. Hope you enjoy. Mike Kohler, we got to start with the move to HomeTeam Network, right? Because you spent a lot of time on the multimedia rights side, right? You know, decades at Learfield, at their NCAA business, and then before that you were at ISP Sports and IMG College, where we first met. So you're on the media side now with HomeTeam Network. So I just want to hear from you. Tell me about the transition when you go from someplace in a world where you inhabit for so long. What did you see in the streaming world that made you think, this is the new opportunity? Like, and what was that transition like?
Yeah, I think, look, everyone kind of welcomes an off-ramp for what you're doing. In hindsight, I probably should have done it sooner now that I know what I know. So
everything becomes clearer when you have the background behind it.
The journey with HomeTeam, it's interesting. It started almost 4 years ago. Casual breakfast in Indianapolis with some friends who was an investor. Oh. Two co-founders of the company and the guy who's now the CEO, said, "Hey, can we take you to breakfast, pick your brain about media rights?" And I said, "Sure." And so we had a great conversation.
Did you think something was going to come of it, or was it just kind of this is informational, whatever?
Yeah, just informational. And then, I think probably 2 years before I exited Learfield, I was ready for a new challenge and had a conversation. And a friend said, "Hey, what about HomeTeam?" And I said, "Hey, I'm I'm looking to take a risk. I'm looking for some ownership, some of those things, and it checked the box. And I probably had 35 to 40 individual meetings with the CEO before I came on board.
That is a lot of pregame.
They vetted me hard. I vetted them pretty hard.
Do you feel like that was balanced? Like, you feel like that was like sort of, was there a point where you thought, oh, I really kind of want this now and want to get through this?
You don't know what you don't know, Dave. I mean, when you spend
that's a long list for me, Kohler.
Yeah, when you spend 27 years kind of in the same space,
yeah.
Right, and you have this idea of jumping out of that. And after extensive conversations, obviously, I realized I could really make a huge impact. Obviously, it was right about that time where it was announced that streaming overtook linear viewership rights, which I thought was an interesting kind of apex with everything shaken out. And then just the more I dug in, I mean, honestly, the more I was excited about it and the more I knew I could jump in and grow this thing. And that's exactly kind of what's happened.
All right. So for people who are not clear about or have not yet heard about HomeTeam Network, let's do the 101. So like, what the hell are you? Are you a B2B production platform, streaming app, rights holder? Where do you fit in this ecosystem?
So single platform for live sports.
Okay.
Nice
elevator pitch right there, Kohler. Nice.
Yeah. The problem that we are solving is, hey, a $10,000 to $50,000 production truck isn't for everyone, especially the sports that really need that level of production.
Right.
So we are first and foremost a streaming platform with we're a full slate. So when you think about distribution, we're on Roku, we're on Fire Stick, we're on Apple TV, we're on Google Play.
Easy to find.
Easy to find. And then obviously we're developing processes to automate production via AI tools. So you got a streaming platform, you got production, you got scoring, you got stats, you got AI highlights, and you got post-production distribution all on one platform. And we're serving all sides of the market, from premium sports properties to youth.
All across the board.
All across the board on the same platform.
So you talk about like making this, I think you and I have had discussions about this previously. Like, this is about trying to take something that can be very complex and try to make it as, to overuse the phrase turnkey as possible for non-high level media rights driven professional sports. Like, we're talking multiple cameras per stadium, like you talk AI switching, live graphics, excuse me. So what does that look like on your end? Is there still the need for people on the Saturday night to have 30 games going on at a given time, or how is it fully automated now? No, we definitely have people, but they're remote. Okay.
So everything's remote production, remotely operated. I think that's really where the value proposition is for the leagues and the entities. And it kind of blows people's mind, the fact that you can produce a broadcast. I mean, we actually have a term for it. It's called broadcast in a box. And the ability to produce a high quality broadcast without having a single employee on site obviously is a little bit of a disruptor in the space, but based on the type of clients that we are attracting and kind of reeling in, it's definitely proof of concept.
Well, it's also really interesting because you look at everything that a lot of the and we'll talk about some of the teams and organizations and leagues that you're doing, but like a lot of it has been high school sports and sort of that amateur level athletics, right? And the people who get involved with these kinds of sports and organize them and things like that, media capability is not high on their list of capability and skill set, right? It's something they know because they want to be able to broaden the appeal of their sport and broaden the reach of it. But this can apply to anything, right? This can apply to finance. It can all apply to marketing, communications. Broadcast is one of those big things. So that idea of broadcast in a box, when you can talk to people, what's their response when you can when a potential client sees it demystified like that?
Man, they are pumped. I guess that's the best way to describe it, is the fact that we have the ability to take that off their plate. And that's a lot of it, to be honest with you, is obviously teams and leagues and federations are dedicating resources to producing this. And the fact that you can say, hey, maybe that person can create short, long form content for you or storytell. Let us take the broadcast off your plate and make it turnkey. So it really, it's a resource play. a lot of it, right? It's an easy thing to do. We're getting really good at it. We're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but the technology is just advancing so quickly from week to week. It's just creating a great viewing experience.
I mean, that is kind of amazing. You say week to week, and that is kind of the cadence now with the tools that are now available. I mean, what's coming down the pipeline as you think about your customers and how they use the technology to increase broadcast capabilities and things like that? As you look down your development pipeline, what are the things that get you excited to be able to share with people in the next few months? Because you're going to break it all here.
Yeah, it's really that application layer of, the video, right? It's what do you do with it? Well, okay, let's generate highlights, right? Which we have a product that we recently launched that we're working with a lot of our minor league baseball teams on that can clip live highlights immediately, and that goes to their social media manager that can get out right away. We have a coaching insight tool that we'll be rolling out here shortly that obviously is a film breakdown that plays with some other competitors as well. So the product pipeline is pretty robust moving forward, and we're continuing to see just this demand for it is probably the best way to describe it.
Well, it also has come very fan-facing to begin with, right? I mean, this is a great opportunity for people to be able to see the sports that they care about that might not receive the kind of attention. But now you're talking about opening up new verticals with like coaching platform. This is getting out of the fans' hands per se, but taking what I'm assuming are millions of data points on a weekly basis to now put those in coaches' hands.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, a lot of this originates from me being a parent of a student athlete and just remembering kind of what that was like. There would be a drive home from Atlanta to back to Indianapolis and see my daughter clipping highlights, on a phone that would take 3 or 4 hours. And then obviously she would put that on social media and hope and pray that some coach would come back and send her a message saying, hey, we want to bring you in for a visit. So I always kind of remember what it felt like to kind of be a parent in that chair. And then as you obviously engage with coaches, knowing coaches are busy with their time. So if you can develop a tool that helps them resource their time better, you're in a much favorable position.
Do you think that time as a parent gives you and to have followed your daughter who's now playing softball at Emory, right?
Yes.
Who to have that perspective, like you have sort of lived that world, or is is that dangerous to have that sort of focus group of one?
No, because I think, look, the interesting thing is the camaraderie. I mean, I think you were a dad of a student athlete too, right? I mean, there's a certain camaraderie there that we all have, and we remember the rigors and the challenges of trying to be recruited. And it doesn't matter if it's Division I, Division II, Division III, right? Not only the amount of money that you invest in that, but the amount of time traveling, being in a car. So it's always helpful for me because I think I can remember of, the panic sometimes where like, well, we need to stream the game. Yeah. How are we going to stream the game? You're going to give up your phone to do that? So I always kind of keep that perspective. It helps me kind of articulate the value proposition as we talk to clients.
Yep. So in the last few months, this has been a particularly successful period of time for HomeTeam Network, right? Because there's a lot of deals that have come down the pipeline, a lot of baseball, Frontier League, Atlantic League, Prospect League, Legacy League, right? That's a pretty intentional pattern. So what is it about those leagues and sports that are so compelling? And why was this the right time now for HomeTeam to start partnering with those?
Yeah, I think what we found is there was definitely a void in production grade quality that existed out there. There was some competition that were kind of using single cameras, and frankly, the leagues were not thrilled with that. And we were able to kind of step in and fill a void. I think we'll end up doing somewhere between 4,000 and 4,500 minor league baseball games this summer, which is scale, especially the fact last year we did about 1,300. So we almost, kind of 3X, 4X from where we were. But
I'm not an economics guy, but that's positive growth, Mike Kohler.
Yes. And it's a great training ground to train our AI models, to be very honest with you. So we're excited. Baseball is a great story for us, and obviously we've added some college properties. Butler University baseball and softball and women's lacrosse are on our network as well, and we have some other big announcements coming in the coming months,
which you're going to make right now. So go ahead. No, just go ahead. I know. You're busting at the seams, Kohler.
I would love to, but the clients, you got to let the clients do that.
You can whisper it to me right now. Nobody will hear. So I'm interested though, because we are at this point, like you just talked about. Okay, minor league baseball, 4,500 minor league baseball games, starting to move into college sports. So the bottom of the market, I don't mean the bottom of the market, but I mean like that sort of grassroots level of the market is starting to move towards the top end of the market, right? Because the big story in this industry is obviously media rights. The just absolutely massive amounts of money that legacy media and now new media is paying to access sports. So is that the real commercial opportunity that you see to continue to move up through that pyramid? And the second part of this, how do you address all the fragmentation, right? There's like so many sports leagues and new sports are coming online at any given moment. So sort of the direction, like how do you move vertically through that pyramid and also horizontally with all the new things coming online? That's an easy question right there.
Yeah. I think about the context of that related to flag football a little bit, to be honest with you, right? Flag football, we do a ton of grassroots. We have a great relationship with USA Football, which is obviously behind, the flag football in the Olympics. So we're doing all their sports. Obviously, we've added some other partnerships. Oakley Icon Alliance has been a broadcast partner of the Fiesta Bowl. Fiesta Sports Foundation, rather. We just recently did their college flag event. So you're seeing flag football kind of in the same way, right? It was very much a grassroots game. Now you're seeing Division I schools add. You're seeing bowl games trying to create events. You're seeing, consumer brands digging in that space. So
and demand.
And demand. And I like the fact that we can go up and actually we can go down and go broader. And I think we've had some casual conversations with the NCAA about kind of what they're going to do with flag football in the future. So we feel like we're kind of on that rocket ship a little bit, and we got on at the right time. The other, as you talk about other competitors, at the highest level, we're distributing content to them already, right? I mean, we're sending games to linear outlets. We're sending games to ESPN already. So I just continue to see more of that in the future.
Now, your Learfield background and your multimedia rights background, that's all college property rights, right? And athletic departments and conferences and rights holders and their relationship with media. So now you're the one calling on the league commissioners, right? You're on that, not outside, not that Learfield's inside, but you know what I mean? There's a little bit of a difference between this. How different is the sell for you in how it was in multimedia rights to where you find yourself in media now?
It's easier. It's much easier. I mean,
you want to think about it a little bit, or
yeah, I do, and I think part of it is, the context of being in college athletics for 27 years, right, is everyone is coming to athletic directors right now. I'll use that as an example with some kind of new revenue generation tool.
They know where the pressures are.
Very few people are coming to athletic directors with an expense reducing solution, right? Okay. So first and foremost, that's why I think, at least on that side, that's been very well received. And again, you know this with revenue sharing, someone's got to pay the piper with that. And so that, I think we filled a nice void with some of these Olympic sports, which we're happy to work with. Obviously, those are the sports that kind of we feel like deserve a higher level of production. So we've been able to kind of fill in the void there. Nice. I think the other thing too, with other professional leagues is, the Learfield model of paying, back in the day, guaranteed rights fees. And you're always making that assumption.
Those quaint old days.
Yes. And if you know anything about my background, Dave, I worked at some challenging institutions that were maybe not right-sized from a media rights standpoint. But it was
some of those old deals were pretty amazing.
Yes. But I think what you're finding on the guaranteed rights side is just because a media company is going to pay a rights fee, that doesn't mean the institution is going to invest in production. right? And so I think what we're finding is we're able to kind of not outbid, but we're able to beat some competition because of our technology slate, to be honest with you.
I'm interested in, so let's talk about competition for a while, because there's a lot out there that's going on. Not just the competitors in your adjacent spaces, but there's a lot of demand and trying to get people's eyeballs on their products. So what do you worry about in terms of competitions? Or is it like the NFHS networks kind of stuff? Is it the ESPN Pluses? Where is your attention as far as competitors go, and how does it influence your decision making on the commercial capacity?
At least so far, what I would say is I haven't really found apples to apples a true competitor. Now we compete in certain segments,
sure,
no doubt, with certain products, but we've kind of built this thing to be a full, slate solution, soup to nuts, for whether it's the flag football team in Oakland or whether it's a professional soccer team overseas. Like that's the way this thing is wired. I think from a futuristic standpoint, I think our technology is something that could be licensed for rights holders kind of in the future, because we are so much more efficient with how we do things. We're cloud-based. Right there allows us to be much more nimble with what we do.
Yeah, Legacy Media is going to be keeping an eye on that one. Let's talk about scale for a second, and I want to talk about particularly in terms of partnerships and advertisers, because Spire. Let's use this example: Spire Academy in Ohio. They just announced one of the largest corporate partnerships deals in the history of high school sports. Right, it's $6 million for uniform patches, and I think some naming of a performance facility. So when you see that, and the numbers associated, and knowing that you've got deep roots in high school sports for HomeTeam Network, how does that change the calculus for you in looking at HomeTeam Network, knowing that brands and businesses are now like playing at that level with amateur sports?
Yeah, hopefully that the person that sold that got a nice sales commission on that, because that's a nice
that's a pretty sweet chunk of change.
I equate it like, when you think about ROI on that $6 million, right? It's we find there to be everyone wants the championship game, right? Everyone wants to broadcast the championship game. Sure. But what about everything in the regular season? What about everything else? And I think that's kind of where I think we've actually filled the void first and foremost. But that's really important to the company that invested in that jersey patch, sure, right? They need to get eyeballs across the entire season, not just the championship game. We all know there's, what the CFP ratings are, or the Final Four ratings are, but oftentimes, who's broadcasting the women's NIT, right? What kind of eyeballs are those getting, for example? So I think we feel uniquely positioned with an ROI like that we can just provide more eyeballs, and more importantly, we can be a distribution partner as well if there's an opportunity to do so.
So I'm wondering, like, if you could think about, again, your previous history in multimedia rights, what's carried over the most for you in this new role? Like, what has been the well that you go back to, and what have you the partner to that is, what have you had to unlearn?
I think relationships still matter. It's interesting. I spoke at a Atlanta Business Symposium a couple months ago at Emory, and my preaching to the students that were in the audience was, take the time to get in front of people, face to face, person to person, to build those relationships, because those are key. Look, I'm in my mid 50s, right?
God, and you don't look a day over.
I know,
49,
right?
49.
Yeah. I used to have hair, but I wanted to be an athletic director, right?
Yeah.
I got in the space, at 26, and now I have a lot of friends that are ADs, right? And we all kind of started together. So,
and you wouldn't trade your current job for any of theirs for all the tea in China.
No, but I've been able to just, pick up the phone and say, hey, here's what I'm doing. And, it's been a very easy way to reconnect with people. I think that my biggest piece of advice that I think I learned was obviously there was a huge tendency to overpay for rights when I first started. And frankly, my advice to our board was like, and our CEO was like, hey, let's not play in that space. Let's differentiate ourselves based on the technology suite that we have. And so far that has proven out. And look, we have competition and we lose deals because we're just not in that position where we're going to write a big check for a league necessarily, but we feel like we can out tech our competitor. And ultimately the league's going to end up unhappy and they're going to come back to us and say, how can we work with you?
It's such an interesting balance, right? Because you spend the money to get the attractive league that you believe is going to help you grow your business, but now your money that you would have used to develop a better product is now tied up with that league. It's a finite resource that
Yes.
you have to deal with, and being able to balance that. And, you know, you and I have both been involved in multimedia rights in the past, and we've seen those deals and the millstone that some of them can become around your neck. So like that ability to have the courage to say no to opportunities helps you stay nimble, helps you be able to develop the product.
And what I had to, I guess, unlearn a little bit is, we're a startup, right? So you have to be smart about how you deploy your resources. And, the area that I applaud is, I mean, we invest a lot of resources in AI engineering and AI developers. And they're the ones that are bringing the pod to the market. And again, week to week, right? Week to week, the advancements are astonishing. And it's so cool to see. And just, I'm the guy out there kind of telling the story for the company a lot of times, but it's money well spent.
I don't think it's just such a overtrodden expression to say, oh, AI is changing everything. But I mean, it's fundamental. I had John Stewart from Fast Break AI. They do all the league scheduling via AI, right? They took a process that was months long and turned into a few hours. He sold his original business to Oracle, to Salesforce before the pandemic. And, he said he had about 150 engineers working on it at a given time. The current product that he has is being built with AI. He's got 7 engineers working on it, and he's doing scheduling for 50 of the major professional sports leagues across the country. So like that's one look at it, but those kinds of changes are manifest everywhere, particularly for startup companies like HomeTeam Network. You're watching it happen in real time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like I said, week to week.
Yeah.
The advancements are crazy.
But it does give you that ability to have an idea and say, maybe, going back to the long drives in the car, but wouldn't it be great if, and then have those deployed in such a short span of time. It does create it very nimble, but from your standpoint, as a commercial officer, it does create unique challenges if you're continuing to roll out new capabilities. So how do you stay on top of that, and how do you communicate that, most importantly, to your existing partners so that they know that these are out there?
Yeah, obviously, streaming has kind of been the tip of the spear in production. I mean, that's really how we, at least right now, kind of approach the business. As the new products kind of roll off the shelf, obviously you build trust because people are happy with your product. And again, it goes back to that relationship, right? I mean, I can remember you and Andy doing training, talking about conceptual selling, right? And obviously this is a little bit of that. Like, hey, what if I can do this for you? What if I had a product that could save your SIDs, so much time to do that, right? So you think about that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of it, obviously my sales roots originated with ISP and with IMG and with Learfield, and they were great. And that's been super, super helpful here with HomeTeam.
Great. So thinking ahead, last question before we wrap up, and this is hard to do, so I'm going to put you on the spot because particularly, like we said, things are changing so quickly. So think about spring 2028. So we're 2 years down the road from here. What does a win look like for HomeTeam Network as you see the progression of the company and where you're expecting things to go? What's it going to be looking like? What leagues are on the platform that aren't there today? What does the consumer product look like? Am I just going to be able to close my eyes and watch my kids play whatever sport that I want to? Like, what does the future look like in this regard?
I think, we often talk about being a disruptor, it's an interesting thing, right? At the Learfield side, it was kind of like the 800-pound gorilla in the space through a series of acquisitions, and here we're really the disruptor. I mean, we're really trying to change an industry. So in 2028, I'm hoping that concept plays out. I think we have ambitions, overseas. We have a couple properties overseas, so I see a lot of growth overseas. And truthfully, I think what it comes down to is just kind of for me, a lot of it has to do with the streaming platforms, right? Live sports, last time I checked, is pretty good, pretty valuable to
Not
those.
bad.
So
Not a bad place to be.
The question is, how do we fit, work, distribute, license our technology for those companies kind of moving forward? I mean, that's really what I'm kind of paying attention to.
I'm with Mike Kohler. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for HomeTeam Network. Mike, I want to say thanks for spending the time. But before I let you go, I have to put you in the lightning round. It's just something that we have to do before we wrap things up. Series of questions. First thing that comes to your mind. Mike Kohler, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll see. Like we've talked about, your daughter played travel softball. I spent a lot of time traveling with her. Best short story of a road trip that went awry. This is why it's called the lightning round, Mike. It's not called the gentle waves lapping against the shore round.
Well, I can remember there's a big softball tournament in Colorado called the Sparkler, right? There's roughly about 1,000 teams that go out there.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we had a nice little run. We were 9-1 for the weekend.
All right.
I think our last game ended at 12, but our flight out of Denver wasn't until 10. So me thought it was a good idea to, hey, let's go to the airport early. And so I dropped off the rental car, and I realized you can't check in your luggage for 4 hours before your flight. We were there 6 hours before. So it's not the most exciting thing, but it's the one my wife and daughter give me the most crap.
That is such a dad thing. We'll get to the airport 6 hours.
It was such a dad move.
Don't worry, we'll find a steak restaurant.
It's such my personality too. So yeah, that was not one of my finest moments.
Wait a minute, make sure everybody's shoes are tied before we get out of the car. I don't want anybody stumbling. No, I can talk about it because I've lived it. All right. Yeah. You and I once skied some laps at Powder Mountain together. Where are we going next?
Well, I was going to say Switzerland, but someone beat me to it.
So there was no Switzerland involved in my travels. I was next door. I was next door in Austria.
Okay. So Switzerland, Austria for me is kind of like on the list. I just, after, obviously kind of not having a great experience with the lack of snow in general this year, I just need to go someplace next year with some snow.
All right. So you and I are going to have an entirely different, separate podcast conversation about skiing in Europe. That's going to happen. All right.
Yeah.
You are a Southern California native, but you've transplanted to the Midwest. What's the biggest adjustment?
I think just in general, people are super friendly. Yeah. I know that's a stereotype, but
Midwest nice.
Midwest living is a real thing. Not saying that California people are rude.
Shut up, Mike. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so you are also a longtime soccer player and aficionado. Now, we're recording this mid-late May. Who's going to win the World Cup?
It's really tough to root against Spain. I just think Spain.
I'm not telling you to root against them.
They're stacked. I think Yamal obviously is a ringer and then some, but they play a style of 80 to 90% possession per game. They're really tough to beat.
All right, well, we're going to play this back for you after the cup is done. We'll see how you did. Last and certainly not least, give a shout out to a friend or mentor who's influenced you along the way. Who would you like to notice?
I would probably, our mutual friend, Sully Folk, continues to be just obviously a great friend. We're going to Alaska fishing again this summer. It's our second time, but he continues to be just a great friend and great advocate for what I do. And I enjoy spending time with him.
It's amazing how many times his name comes up, the great Sully Folk. Mike Kohler, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.
Dave, thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Sports Business Conversations podcast. If you enjoyed it, we always appreciate a subscribe, share, comment, or like. And if you're the social type, you can always follow us in all the usual places. Don't forget, past episodes are located at adcpartners.com/podcast. A quick shout out to Scott Holmes for composing our theme music. This podcast is a production of ADC Partners. All rights are reserved.